Check.
Hello.
1, 1, 2. Hi, everyone. Welcome to another PT podcast brought to you by Crossroads Community Church in Lindale, Texas. It is Friday, October 21st, and I am your host, PT. I'm totally stoked about today's podcast. And I am joined with my incredible podcasting partners, Todd, the Irishman Bergen. How are you doing, bro?
I'm doing fantastic.
Steve, the Bald Beauty Howard. What's up, Steve?
I'm doing awesome too.
And Joanna, the author extraordinaire.
Hey.
How's it going?
It's good.
How you doing?
How you doing? I'm
How you
good.
doing?
How you doing?
I'm alright.
Kiss me outside about that.
Oh my gosh.
Lord have mercy.
Let's not glorify her at all. Please.
That's what you reminded me of a while ago.
That is not a compliment.
She's pulling out that. She's pulling out the what's the word I'm looking for?
That's my street side, y'all.
Yeah, that's a valley.
Sounds like a street girl.
That's a valley girl. Yeah,
Down the back.
a lot of street and a Lindale girl. That's what I'm going to say. One of the most rural cities
That's
ever.
what to say.
Not as rural as it used to be, though. I have
You
to be
can
honest.
drive her out of Lindale,
Yeah.
but you can't take her off the street. I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
You could take the street out.
no.
What?
No,
Just
I
let
like
it go.
mine. I like mine better.
you could take the something that
I love my mama very much. Now you know that.
That's right.
Well, we got a cool podcast today. We're going to be talking about kids, and so all of us are in in rare form this morning. I think it's because of our kids, and the kids are making us go. So some of you are empty nesters almost. I'm not going to point fingers or anything like that, but the one immediately to my left is almost an empty nester.
You know, you can say that, but
You almost are too.
do they
Soon.
ever leave the nest? Oh,
Well,
let's talk about
We're
it.
going to talk about that. Yes, we'll talk about where we are at and what advice we can give other than early death.
Right? 11.2 acres.
11.121 acres, by the way.
121.
And yeah, we're not going to.
Let's not split hairs.
Yeah, we're not. Yeah, we're
I
not
can
gonna
use some in
split
the neighbor's yard.
hairs. Oh yeah, we actually have a little bit more than that, and they love us. They'll let us bury things out there. All right. So yeah, we got a lot of stuff going on. I want to kind of catch up with you guys. How is the farm going, Mr. Mintz? C3 Serenity Farms. We got pumpkins for you to buy.
Yes,
please
come out
and
and buy them.
buy some pumpkins.
I can only make so much pumpkin bread and pumpkin soup.
Oh, yum.
But I did make some pumpkin bread last night. It was really good.
Do you have any left
I was
over?
going to say, where is it?
Why did you not bring it
Why
here?
do we not?
Honey, it is 9:00 in the morning. You don't need pumpkin soup in the morning.
You
No,
can
bread.
eat
I made
pumpkin bread.
I made
Pumpkin bread. We didn't
Oh,
say
yeah,
pumpkin.
where's that at?
Oh, pumpkin bread
Is it
with our
that?
coffee.
Wouldn't that have been good?
I'm having a religious moment right now.
Yeah, I think we might need to pause this
bread.
thing and where's the bread, bro?
Yeah, where is the bread?
I don't understand. You're living off the fruit of the land and you're not sharing it. That's not
No,
the way the
I
C3
did.
Serenity
I
Farm
did.
thing's supposed to work,
did.
bro.
I
With
made
every
I made
bread
2
that you
loaves.
bake, you need to give it away.
There's some in the fridge upstairs here.
In the fridge.
Who is here?
There's some in the fridge upstairs here.
Well, we'll give you a pass on this one. Obviously,
Yeah.
it's going good. Obviously, though C3 Serenity Farm.
It is. It is actually going really well. This morning I spent a couple hours out there pulling out some old basil, getting ready for the new crops. Going to be putting in some garlic.
Ooh,
magic garlic.
My wife loves garlic.
According to the almanac, the vampires will be out in force this year.
Huh?
Oh, okay.
You get lots of garlic.
Lots of garlic.
Be aware,
Okay, we'll be
folks.
prepared.
Yeah.
Be prepared.
Vampires.
That's right. Grow
I
your
thought they only
garlic.
lived in L.A.
No, actually, they've migrated over here to Texas. It's crazy. I know.
vampires?
Yeah, vampires.
Texas
It's crazy.
vampires.
Texas vampires. They come with
Yeah.
machetes.
I only thought they were on
No.
Mulholland Boulevard. That's what Tom Petty said. And all the vampires.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Living in Reseda, right? And move west to Ventura Boulevard. That's what it is. Yeah. All right. Sorry.
Picked a bunch of jalapenos today, too.
Ooh.
Yeah, we had the frost bit everything.
So you had to pick them out.
I might have lost all my spaghetti squash.
No.
All of it?
Yeah.
I thought you said you didn't have any tender plants.
Well, it wasn't supposed to be tender. It says it's frost tolerant, but they look kind of funny. And all the vines are dead.
Oh, no.
They're dead. So we're going to
that's
hope that they
sad.
ripen on the vine. It's going to be one of those things where they'll probably yellow up. We can probably eat them, but some will be immature, some will be more mature, some will be. But the bottom line is because they got hit with the frost a little bit, they're going to have to be used quickly.
We live, we learn. That's part of that process.
Yeah.
That's when God throws a little curveball at you and says, "It's going to freeze on you today, Todd." No,
I don't know if you could have
could've-
covered all
yeah,
those
I could've.
plants though.
Well, it's
No
100
way.
row. It's 100 feet of plants. I could have, if I had them growing on the ground, I could have covered them with hay. But I decided that no, I want to avoid the squash bugs and any other insects that might be on there, and I'm just going to grow them vertically because I didn't want to take up all the.
I got you.
floor
I understand.
space.
Yeah, I got you.
So I was trying to think ahead, and in doing so, I guess I should have covered them with my sheets
tarp
and
or something,
blankets
or,
and
yeah.
tarps and whatnot. Yeah.
Well, it's only one night, right? But I got to be honest with you. I think it's going to be pretty cold.
But it's pretty crazy. It went from like
This year.
summer, skipped fall, and went to winter.
Like
Dude, you're full of corn. This isn't winter. This is fall weather.
This is fall.
No, I mean
This
like
is
the
fall,
other,
but
the
that
other
other
days.
day
2
was,
days,
was
yeah,
a
like-
winter day.
We hit the 39.
I mean,
and
it
then
was
we went to
below
30.
freezing.
Yeah.
When we went
Yeah.
outside, it was 29 degrees or 28 degrees outside.
That's okay. That's
I know
all right.
It's okay if you're not planting things.
No, it would have been
But,
okay.
you know, we got kale out there. We got lettuce out there. We
They
got
didn't get
broccoli out
killed?
there. No, they didn't get killed at all. They're doing great. They didn't get
I
killed
see
at
what
all.
you did there.
But we did take advantage of it. And we
You can
we
expect
made
at least
some-
one from him every podcast.
Right?
Yeah.
We made some kale chips.
Oh, I like those. Those are good.
Those are good. It's good.
Yeah, you put some of that.
Whatever.
I hate kale.
I will try them, but it does not sound.
I'll tell you
They're
what
really
kale
good.
tastes the best in. And that is a
Steve?
soup discana
Yes.
with some kale on top of it. With the
You know, we just had that last weekend.
soup discana. It's so good.
That's what
Oh, yeah.
Tiffany made. Yeah.
Was that
Big
kale
shout
in
out.
it or
Oh, yeah.
spinach?
Oh, it's kale.
That's kale.
It was
That's
good. Color me
See?
shocked.
Yes.
It's good. The kale is
really
very
good.
good in there.
Yeah, it's really good when you literally bake the crap out of it.
Well, we have two types of kale, sir. We have the kind of kale that you're talking about where you have to bake the crap out of it because it's too stiff and rigid. But then we have the loose leaf, which is nice and it's fluffy.
Yes, it's very nice.
It's perfect.
Kale schmale. I don't care about kale. Kale can go to
Kale.
Oh,
Kale can go to. All right. So, anyways, good.
So
See
the
through
farm's
Serenity
doing
Farm,
good. We're
but
doing good.
there's a lot of people that do like kale. Just turnips, kale, and I don't think there's anything else that I don't like. Those are pretty much the only ones that I'm not a big fan of. But
You weren't a big fan of watermelon until you had some of
dude,
ours the other day.
holy corn!
Yeah, all right. Mm-hmm.
I'm going to tell you. Now if kale,
See?
if you're kale, if anybody could sell me on it, Todd, you probably could sell me on it. But I'm just telling you right now, as it stands, kale schmale. I'm
Kale
just
schmale.
saying, I don't want it.
Not a big fan.
Not until you,
like
sell me
spinach?
on it. Yeah, I love spinach.
Okay.
I love spinach.
All right.
Yeah. Iron. That's a good iron product. Anyways, all right. Steve, Mr. Insurance Man, you doing
Yes,
good? Gold
doing
Shield.
great. Doing excellent with
Yeah,
my
it's been
gold
another
shield.
week. Another week
helping
of insurance.
helping people with their insurance
Needs.
Yep, with all their insurance needs. Yeah. Helping them save money, helping them get better coverage.
15% or more?
You know
20.
how
I heard 20.
Generally, I think a
That's
lot
a
of
different
times
company.
people, just because you say you can take away a coverage somebody needs and save them 15% or more. I'm just saying.
Wait, no.
Oh, that shots have been fired. Geico, did you hear that? Gold Shield just said you stink.
Did not.
oh my God.
Did not say that.
Wow, way to put words in his mouth.
I'm saying
Wow.
that's why you need an agent to actually make sure that you have what you need.
Yes, you have to have an agent. And Steve is a very good agent. So look him up. Gold Shield. Or, I'm sorry, Gold Shield.
Gold Shield.
Gold Shield.
Shield.
Gold Shield.
Shield. It sounds like Irish.
Shield.
Shield.
Yeah. Bloody.
And then we have the author sitting right
Yes.
across from me. And she is. Are you on a new book? Are you?
Yeah, you have to
anything
be.
new coming out?
You're supposed to be.
anytime soon.
Yes,
My wife says you're supposed to be on a new book.
I am working on a new book.
Good.
All
It
right.
has been very difficult for me to write because it's a sad book.
Aw.
It starts off sad. Everything's gonna end nicely because that's how I write. But for right now, it's very sad. But what I'm excited about is tomorrow in Mount Pleasant at Coppergate Ranch is a multi-author book signing
Wow.
So there's going to be dozens of authors there. So come out, see me. My Stacy B's coming with me as my assistant tomorrow. So
Nice.
When is that again?
we're gonna have some fun. It is tomorrow at Coppergate Ranch in Mount Pleasant from 1 to 4 p.m.
Okay.
What kind of ranch is that?
It's a ranch.
I don't
a ranch?
know.
I know they make.
It's
never been
it's
there.
obviously got a copper gate.
Got a copper
I don't think
gate.
it does.
I will be disappointed if it
Yeah,
doesn't.
me too. Yeah, a little
You
bit.
get there and take a picture of it.
Like
Send it
false-
to me. If it doesn't have a copper gate,
False advertising. False advertising.
I'll come
Yeah.
and say, hey, wait.
But-
There's no copper gate.
I'm excited.
You people, get me out here and tell me there's a copper gate and there's not a copper gate.
I drove down this road 20,000 times. I couldn't find a copper gate.
I couldn't find the copper gate.
And guess who is one of those authors that's going to be signing?
Are you going to be
You?
signing?
Joanna.
Yeah.
I'm going up there with my tattoo gun because she's totally signing my boob right here. On my left chest, right here. Yes.
Right above the
Yes.
piercing.
There
So
will
I
be
could say,
alcohol
Joanna,
at this event.
Joanna en mi corazón. Oh my gosh. So, but there's a new book it's hard to write because it's a sad book. Is it part of this any of the series that you're doing? Which
Part
one?
of the Blake Pride series.
Oh, really?
Fun.
The saucy
That is so fun.
series.
That's a saucy series.
That's the saucy
this final
series.
book may be a little disappointing. It's not going to be as saucy. It's going to be more emotional.
No, well, that's okay because
the
we
ladies
like
will
a
like
good
that.
drama and ladies like drama. Mm-hmm. I know.
Lots
I
of
like drama
drama.
too. I'm a drama guy. So
Yeah, I'm not in that saucy stuff. Just kidding.
you're full of corn. You like kale, so I know you like saucy. You have to have sauce on kale for it to be any good.
That's right.
It does taste
The
better.
hotter, the better. You know what I mean?
Oh my god!
Oh my gosh.
Well, hot sauce.
I never knew that kale went with sausage.
That's
All
why-
right.
that's
So,
why I picked
anyways,
the peppers today.
all right. This is definitely the PT podcast at its finest, by the way. And I digress. Truly digress.
You digressed.
So we've got a lot of stuff to talk about today, but before we get into the good stuff, I want to get into the getting to know us stuff. And so we're going to play a couple of rounds of get to know you, and we're going to kind of do some interviews and answer some questions. Now, some of these are not easy questions. They
Oh
are,
my. I'm scared.
They're not easy questions. In fact, one of them that I've got here is
I'm scared.
really tough for
scared.
whoever picks me. So I'm just letting you know just beforehand. But today we are going to play Get to Know You.
Oh boy.
So
found the mute
we're going to do the same rules that we did the last week, and I'm going to let the lady go first. She can have first dibs on whoever she wants.
I'm glad those are not
Go
mine.
ahead and let us know what you want. Which one you want to pick?
I'm going to start over. I'm going to start with Todd.
Ooh.
Are you top or bottom?
Okay. Again, I digress.
This card right here.
Okay. Super easy to go. You'll have a good time with this one. It's probably
Okay.
You got your phone right there too.
Oh, okay.
If you had to delete all but 3 apps from your smartphone, which ones would you keep?
Which 3 apps would you have?
Oh my.
No, would you keep? No, so it says, would you
What
keep?
do I use?
Be honest
the most?
now.
Yeah, don't
Be
you lie.
honest.
Does the phone
We
count
all know
as
that
an
Joanna
app?
has to have Facebook because she does a
No,
lot of
actually, if I had to keep one, I would keep Instagram.
Really?
Yes, I prefer Instagram over Facebook.
Okay.
I get more traction on Facebook, which sucks, but I like Instagram better than Facebook. So honestly, Instagram would probably be 1.
Okay.
My calendar would
Oh,
be
yeah.
2, and email would be 3. I don't even know if I would want to keep
What about calling people?
well,
Is that really an app?
That's not really an app.
That's not really an
surely,
app.
like calling
Well,
and
it's like an
texting
app to
are
me.
like the functions of the phone.
Yeah.
Steve's
So I feel
getting
like that's
lost
a
in the
given,
technicalities.
but
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
what
But
you
no,
have.
I would keep Instagram, my calendar, and then what was the last one I just
Is
said?
text message not an app?
Email.
either?
Email.
Email. Yes, thank you. Gosh.
That's
Okay.
okay.
I'm
Although you
I'm
can
gonna drink
probably
more
access
coffee.
the email on your computer.
True. And then you
Yeah,
would,
but I-
no,
Now,
yeah,
so now we're you just rather have it on the
to
fly.
keep it, yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because somebody will ask me something and be like, oh yeah, they emailed
get
me
that
about
email?
that. Let me pull that up real quick.
That was a good round. Very good, Joanna. Very good, Joanna. That was a very quick answer. Please give me that card so we never have to answer that question again. Thank you. All right, Todd, you're up,
sir.
bro. Who you gonna pick?
Stevie Wonder.
Oh no. Let's see, which one do I want to do for you? I'm probably this one.
Nope, I'm not gonna do that.
How would you like to die?
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Keep it
morbidity.
PG, please.
Well, it wouldn't be a heart attack because that didn't work last time. So
Thank God.
She
Yeah,
is
no-
right. Well,
no
I don't know.
more
It
heart
might-
attacks. Okay,
might-
we're done
Yeah,
with
no
heart
more.
attacks.
Yeah, no more heart attacks. In fact, he had a nickname for a while, and I was like, nah, I don't want to be accused of prophecy, so we're going to go ahead.
short life. Anyways, how would I like to die? I would like to die. If I was going to die, how would I like to die? I would probably say I would like to die by jumping out of an airplane and not have my parachute empty.
Oh my gosh.
Now,
Do you know,
I'll tell
oddly
why,
enough,
though. I'll
I
tell
was
you-
thinking the exact same thing.
Just think about it. You
That's
jump out of
weird.
a plane and you look out the window. I mean, your window. You look out, and all you see is space. You just see land and everything, mountains, trees, whatever.
You'd have
at
a
you.
heart attack.
Now,
That's-
granted, I don't know. I've jumped out of airplanes before.
I would.
Now, obviously, the parachute opened, so that was good.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that would just be the way to go. I mean, like serene.
Nope.
Okay.
Because I don't want to. I thought about walking up a mountain, climbing up on a mountain, and then falling down and dying that way. But that's just too much work.
And you might not
Yeah.
die.
You get all the way
And
up
that's
there,
like, what if you bounce a few times
right?
and roll?
Oh yeah, exactly.
And,
Bump your head,
Yeah.
That
just
would
get a
hurt.
little cut, and then it hurts. Yeah.
No.
I
No.
just want to. I just say you have to stop breathing. That's what dying is. So that's all I got to say.
What? You want to just go to sleep one
Give me
night?
the card.
Just
Give me
go
the
to
card.
sleep.
Give me the card. We're never going to answer that question again.
Never wake
We're
up.
never going to answer that question again. Never going to do it. Actually, probably will, but we.
No, I don't. I don't
All
wanna
right,
die.
Steve. Oh, yeah, Steve. You asked.
I did.
You
I
asked.
asked. She went first, and then I.
And you went, now
it's
it's Steve.
between you guys.
It's my turn.
Yeah, pick a person.
Tim.
Okay. Going to spare you the difficult one.
Okay, thank you. You know how I'm hard.
What are you most excited? Okay, you, not your wife. You. What are you most excited about right now?
What am I most excited about right now?
Mm-hmm.
Can't be that shirt.
No.
What?
I'm just kidding.
What in the world was that about, dude?
Nothing.
What am I most excited about? I guess I like the fact that I'm getting to do some gigs now. That's kind of fun.
Yeah.
I'm
You've been
really
wanting to
excited.
do that for a while now.
I have
Yeah.
been.
And how's the response been?
It's been pretty good.
Yeah,
People
of
are
course they
liking
did.
it.
You're amazing.
I only have 10 songs, but they love all 10 of them.
So he's going for 3 hours with the same 10 songs.
That's right.
One time it's country, the next time it's R&B, and the last time it's rap. So you want to get there early.
Yeah.
Okay.
You should see me rap.
Oh my gosh.
Baby, I'm amazed by you. Amazed by you.
Did you guys used to bebox together?
You're as sweet as Tennessee whiskey.
Oh. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I see this. I see a show coming up.
No. No.
Oh yeah.
You raised me up.
Oh, it keeps getting worse. Okay, next.
Okay, so I have to pick. Who has 2 cards? You have 2
Oh,
cards.
me.
Joanna.
You have to pick me.
Okay. I'm answering Joanna's question, whatever it is. This is PT, by the way, just in case you don't know if you're listening.
Okay.
If you're not listening,
Okay. What would be your best day ever?
Best day ever.
Best day ever.
August 18th, 2001 at 2:30 in the afternoon.
Yay. I know what that is.
man, you're just kissing bud.
No, I'm not. That was.
That is the best day of mine.
I smiled so much that day.
Well, not that day, but
I smiled so much that day that my face hurt at the end of the day.
yeah.
And I still wanted to smile more. It was so fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so now that you're done kissing up, you want to answer the actual question?
That was the best day.
What would be
What would be the best day?
would be your best day ever? That was a good day, though. That was a good day for you.
That was.
But
that
what
was mine.
would be future.
Okay, so like I'm creating a hypothetical situation.
Yes,
What would be?
Yes. Would be.
I didn't pick up on that either. I totally. Yeah.
Best day ever. Golly, man, there's so many good answers to that. That's a really hard question. I would say probably it would have to do something about. Okay, best day ever. I wake up. I'm next to my wife. We get up. We have breakfast. During breakfast, I get a call from Tim Schlesinger that one of our songs got picked up and somebody's about to record it. Some big high priority person,
That'd
and
be
that
a
we're
great
going
day.
to.
Awesome.
Hold on, I'm not done. Okay. Then we go to we go back to the house. I find out that and obviously this will be later down the road, but that Megan and Grayson are going to have a baby and we're going to be grandparents. Then my dad he's able to retire and they're going on a trip and they're happy and they're excited. They call me and they let me know how excited they are about the trip. And my grandparents are doing fine, that all the mind stuff that's happening right now is doing good, and that they found a cure for what all is happening. And the next part of this would be that Gabriel has found a job that is paying him at least $60,000 a year, and he has medical insurance, and that he's no longer needing to live with us any longer, and all of our debt's gone. It just magically disappears.
Magically
That's awesome.
disappears.
That would be
a good day.
That would be the best day ever.
All right.
And I'm not even done. That all the people that I had been praying for to get saved or to find Jesus actually called me and told me, after everything that you've been talking about, we finally realized that Jesus is the way, and we gave our heart to the Lord. That would be the icing on the cake right there. So that is the best day ever. That would be
Clap her. Come on, clap her.
that Sunday. That Sunday would be
That was the wrong
Magical.
yeah. We would have a shouting fest.
Yeah, we'd be going.
Yep.
And apparently it would be a Sunday.
No. I was saying the Sunday following that day would be like, that'd be,
We'd be having
awesome.
some Holy Ghost hoedowns.
So would heaven. Just saying. Which I'm not going to talk about that. All right. So, anyways, let's go back. Joanna, you're up. You got to pick somebody. Pick somebody other than Todd.
Steve.
Steve. Okay. Steve, hold on. I got a button for that.
Steve?
Yeah.
If you could send a message to the entire world, what would you say in 30 seconds? You're an author, so you should be able to do that.
She's also a youth pastor,
seen how long
so I'm
it takes
kind of
you to write
interested
a
to see what she's going to say.
She takes forever to write a book.
30 seconds.
30 seconds.
Okay, time starts now. Go.
All you people need Jesus.
There you go.
It's time to get your lives right.
There you go.
Get it straight. Start reading your Bible. And start acting like you got a brain in your head.
Oh, ooh.
Okay. Wow. There you go.
Look, that was like
Brain.
10 seconds. See?
Ooh, you sound like a youth pastor.
You people need Jesus. In fact, if I just had like one of those signs that blinked above my head all the time, you people need Jesus. That'd be it.
Time. She can't talk anymore. It's 30 seconds.
Nope.
Good job.
Good job. Good job.
The world heard you need Jesus, and
Oh, you
Give me a card.
get your head out of your rear.
Give me a
But
card.
you know,
Give me a card.
whatever. Oh wait, no.
All
That's
right.
Yep.
You don't give him a call.
All right.
Give him a card.
So nobody can ask Steve anything else.
It's me turn.
He's
No,
done.
it's Todd's turn. Who are you going to, man?
Well, since you got a difficult one, I'm going to give it.
You going to get it?
I'm going to get it.
Okay.
Bring it on.
Todd, seriously, not jokingly,
Not joking.
what is your biggest or greatest regret?
Ooh,
I told you, I warned you ahead of time.
that one's hard.
He doesn't have many.
Biggest regret. Biggest regret is... Dang. That is tough.
That is tough. We need some Jeopardy music. There you go.
Right? I don't even know if that speeds up the process in my head.
It
Does not. No, in fact,
does not.
It
it's
makes
meant
it
to
longer.
give you anxiety attacks. That's what it's meant to do. Yeah. Look. Oh, there's his biggest regret right there.
Yep. There we go. So, biggest regret, I would say that...
Was leaving and then having to come back.
Let him answer the.
No. Yeah. So it kind of reflects on what we're talking about today. Kids in my life are a tough battle. So I know that when I was growing up, I always wanted that perfect family image. So I wanted to be able to spend spend time with my dad and do cool things. And my dad had left when I was younger. And so I had swore that I wouldn't do that to my kids. I wouldn't step out of their lives. I'd be close, and we'd do lots of cool things, and we'd have great times. So my biggest regret is that I didn't give that to them. I wouldn't change what my life is now for anything, but I wish I could have done it in a way that would have kept us all close. So
That's good.
That's tough, man.
Ouch.
yeah.
Love you, dude.
Glad I took that one.
Yeah, I told you, man. I'm sorry. I
Thank
warned you.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a tough
There
one.
you go.
Steve,
All right, Steve.
It's my turn.
Todd, or Joanna?
Todd or Joanna? Don't pick me. I'm just kidding. If you want to pick me.
Joanna.
Okay, pick her.
Okay.
That's fine. I don't care.
You said not to pick you.
Steve?
I obey well.
Which living person do you admire most?
Oh, that would have to be my wife. She's listening, I'm sure. Lorraine Howard.
We still only have one viewer up there. It's only one person up there watching us.
me and-
That's Joanna.
Oh, my
and
wife will
someone
definitely no.
Yeah, your wife.
No,
No,
it's
my
me and
wife
Tim.
is my
You're rocking.
favorite. My second favorite is Tim.
Oh, good grief.
Oh Lord.
Oh, love you. Love you,
Better
man.
get
Love you, man.
the
But yeah.
Extra
Who's
large
kissing? Who's
earphones.
What's that?
I heard kissy sounds. What was that?
I don't know. I didn't hear it. Did you hear
Probably
that?
your wife.
Yeah. I admire my wife the most. I do. I admire her so much. Yep. All right. And I'm going to pick Mr. Todd because that's who's left.
That's all
Yeah, I was
got.
gonna say. I think processes of elimination.
Yes. Then. You notice that I'm doing that. I get the
Illumination?
last pick because I want everybody else to have those opportunities.
Process
so go ahead,
of
man. You're up.
elimination.
Yep. Yep.
So, who are your heroes in real life?
Who are my heroes in real life?
Yeah,
Heroes.
the heroes of now.
Easy answers. So
Heroes.
do I have a limit? How many am I supposed to? Did they say? Okay, so it's the heroes.
It's
Okay.
got an S on it.
Heroes.
So that's
Well, obviously Jesus is a
That's
big
obviously,
hero,
yes.
but that's the obvious answer. My other there's
Sunday school answer.
yeah, that's the Sunday. Jesus. All right. If I had a thing there where I
Yeah.
could press that, I would do that, but I don't. My grandfather and my father obviously are
Yep.
two of my biggest heroes. My dad has literally taught me so much about life, and my grandfather was instrumental in preparing me for ministry as
Yeah.
far as teaching me the ropes on pastoring and people and how to deal with all those things. So that, and then, oh man, it's a big cross between Rick and Kevin. Rick DuBose is a big mentor of mine. Took a chance on a kid and probably paid the price several thousand times over for doing it, but he did that for me. And then obviously Kevin is a big influential part of my life. When I was a teenager and nobody really cared, I was annoying as snot, and Kevin would take the time to talk to me and tell me, that he loved me, cared about me, and that always stuck with me. That even so much now that I've adopted that phrase, if no one's told you God loves you, and so do I. So those are probably my biggest heroes. I have other heroes, but those are the big ones. Those are the ones that really set my life on another path. So, and that's the getting to know you thing. That was fun, and we'll do it again next time. But
It's nice to
Yay.
know you, Todd.
It's good to
nice
know
to
you.
know you.
It's nice to know you.
nice to know you.
Everyone. It's
getting to know you.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
All
you're
right.
gonna go jumping out of airplanes.
Well, if he starts
Okay,
talking
yeah,
about
seriously.
if he starts talking about parachuting anytime soon, I'm going to be like, dude, what's wrong?
What's wrong?
Not
What's wrong?
without one of us to chaperone.
Yeah,
You gonna come with me, Joanna? Let's go do it.
No, okay, we're not. No, I'm not losing the farmer and the youth pastor all in one thing. All right.
oh no, trust me, I will make sure I have my
All right.
parachute.
She'll have two.
Sometimes that doesn't matter.
She'll have two.
I want one of those guys strapped to me
See,
that knows
the
what
Bible
he's doing.
says, "Lo, I am with you always."
Yeah, he don't say nothing about that.
If you get up there in the
Do not tempt the Lord your God. That's all right. So scripture of the week. Y'all ready? Proverbs chapter 22, verse 6. Train up a child in the way he should go. Even when he grows older, he will not abandon it.
Yes.
Okay. And then Ephesians chapter 6, verses 1 through 4. Children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right.
Yes.
Honor your father and mother. What is honor, by the way? It's a valuation. It's valuing them. It doesn't mean obedience, although that is implied in the valuation. Honor your father and your mother, which is the first commandment, with a promise, so that it may turn out well for you,
yes,
and that you may live long on the earth. Fathers, do not provoke your children to anger, but bring them up in the discipline and instruction of the Lord. So those are our scriptures of the week. And segueing into this conversation about kids, because one of the things that I think that stress and worry and concern us, which is what we talked about last week a lot, is kids. And
yes,
all of us are in different places. We have some here with younger kids. We have some here with teenagers. We have some here with a college career, and we have some that are they're not there anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So we're kind of going to give our takes, but the first question I want us to talk about is, as it pertains to your family, your kids, what do you find the most challenging part of parenting was or is? And we'll start with Todd and go Steve, and then Joanna, and then me. Go ahead, Todd.
Well, I'd have to say the toughest thing is to figure out how to get them to think just like me.
They're not going to do that.
I know, right? It doesn't work.
Oh my goodness.
Because, of course, I have all the right answers.
Oh my
I have
God!
all the right answers. And
Wow.
if they would just listen to exactly what I say,
Oh my goodness.
then there'd be no problem. There'd be no problem.
Okay.
You know, financially, relationship.
God, you sound like my father right now.
I mean, you just listen to me, and I'll steer you in the right direction because I'm a good steward.
Was that really the most challenging part of
You're a good
parenting?
steerer?
Trying to steer them into your
'cause
way of thinking.
You got to remember that if they don't, it creates a world of anxiety. I mean, when your kids start going south, and you're like, that's not where I told you to go.
I guess that all depends on why you're telling them to do it. Obviously, if
you know the
your way
answer.
of thinking is, I want what's best for you, then yeah, okay.
And you do.
I can follow that.
I mean, I never tried to steer my kids to the dark side.
Come over to the
Well, I mean, there was that one time, but we won't talk about that.
So one time we was trying to coax, Ben into the scary. What are they called? Haunted houses. Yeah.
Which
it'll be
we are
totally
going this
fine.
weekend.
It'll totally
we'll be
be
going
fine.
to Greystone Manor this weekend.
Okay.
If you want to come.
Okay.
Wow.
Anyways, so you are that you say that is the most challenging part, is to form them into your mindset.
Right.
Okay. Steve?
Okay, so
Steve?
with the kids, the hardest thing is to let them, to teach them how to see things in like a logical way.
See it like you want it.
Yeah, because teenagers and logic don't go together.
They just, it's like, sometimes you want to say, I know you're not that ignorant.
Surely there's some common
You're being
sense
so
in that word,
nice right now.
right?
You're not that ignorant.
You're not that dumb.
Yep, that's the word he was looking for. Yeah, there's a good button for that one.
Because they don't think sometimes. And then what really amazes me is how some of them can just be like, they aren't aware of what's going on, and then all of a sudden they're like, I didn't know, we've been talking about this for like 3 weeks. How do you not know what we're talking about? How do you not know we're doing this? How do you not know we're doing that?
I love this. If
Like-
only the audience could see eye rolling. Some of you on live podcast might be able to see it, but I think the camera's too far away
Like
just
for
to see it.
a little example, like we had the people from the roof come in our house, show us that our roof was tore up, and then they come back 2 weeks later at 7 o'clock in the morning. My son's like, "What's all these people doing here?" "Well, we're getting our roof done." "Well, why are we getting our roof done?" I'm like, "You were there."
Yes. Yes, exactly.
You were there. You were there. And
Okay,
It's just
so
funny.
so
I think it's funny that his kid talks like a country boy.
he doesn't. It's just the way that it's the. All right, Joe.
True.
What do you think is the most challenging part about parenting right now?
Not beating them.
Yeah, so frustrating.
keeping my wife under control.
Yeah.
Calm down.
Put the
Don't
stick
kill
down.
him, baby.
Put the
Don't
stick
kill him.
Steve's like, Lorraine.
Mama said that. My mama said that.
Okay. Without like literally echoing their two answers, which kind of took mine, I would
Should've went
say watching them make the same mistakes that I made, even after I warned them. I've done this. Learn from my mistakes. Okay, Mom. And they go right down the path. And then they're shocked when it turns out exactly
Like you said it would.
like I said it would.
Isn't that awesome?
I didn't see that coming. Really? I did.
Yeah, I saw that
In fact,
train
I think I
coming.
told you like 10 times. This is how this is going to end.
Yep.
Yes, every one of you are stealing my answers.
Yes.
It's okay. It's okay.
It's because we all
The big
deal
one.
with-
The big one for me is balance. That's probably the
Yes.
most difficult part for me in parenting is being able to balance the spiritual, practical, and mental, emotional side of things.
Yes.
And so when I'm reactive and wanting to rip their heads off, I have to keep the balance of,
Oh, yeah.
okay, so
Yeah.
that is probably the most difficult. And trying not to, as much as I think I'm right, I don't ever want to be accused of not allowing them to experience for themselves the same lessons that I had to have, even if it means that they are making mistakes. Now, it doesn't mean I'm not going to warn them like you're talking about, but it does mean that I'm going to allow them to suffer the ramifications of those actions, which in balance in itself, like, okay, give an example. If I set a rent and I say, okay, I'm preparing you for life, I know what the purpose of that is, and then set that down as that's the parameter, and then they come and they say, which has never happened, by the way. My kids have always been very, very good about taking care of business. But if they were to come and say, I'm having a hard time with this and this, having that balance enough to know, okay, when is it appropriate to help? And when is it appropriate to go, all right, I'm going to step in and give you, I'm going to give you a life lesson here. You have to. I remember when Grayson this last summer was having a problem with his car. His air conditioning went out, and everything. I had the wherewithal to go ahead and just take care of it. And I did help him with warranty stuff and calling the warranty company, and that was stressful. And if I would have tried to hand that to him, he would have exploded. We would have found pieces of Grayson everywhere. But he did what he could, and I saw that he was making the effort. And the balance part of that was, how much he needs to come up with the financial side of things and make sure that he's paying what he needs to pay to make that happen. But I'm going to handle the things that I knew he couldn't. And to find that balance there was that was very difficult, because I just wanted to take care of it. But I knew that if I did, I would rob him of an opportunity to grow
learn.
and to
Yeah.
figure out what it was going to take to get his car fixed. And
Yeah.
rightfully so, now that's happened, he knows that, well, I got to save up, and I got to make sure that there's enough money in the bank account to, if something like that happens, I got to make sure that I have that kind of money in the bank account to do that, which he learned the hard way, because he didn't have air conditioning for a little bit until he was able to afford it. So that's one of the most challenging things. Okay, here's the next thing.
I got to brag on my son just real quick.
Which son?
Aiden.
Okay. Because there's
Like-
only 12,000 of them.
I know.
Yeah, okay.
So Aiden has
part rabbit.
just, he's 17. He's about to be 18. And he just like
When I was
flipped a
17.
switch. And now he's just becoming this young adult. He fixed his own vehicle. He wrecked it first, but he fixed it himself. And and he's going to work. He's working hard. I'm just really proud of him. He's becoming that man, and it's really neat to watch.
That's awesome.
This is not the one that was like, what's going on here? What?
No,
That's another. Those are the. Yeah, we're not going to talk about that. We're
praying
not
for him.
We're not, and we didn't need to know if it was a him or her because now we're just narrowing it down. Thank you very much, Steve. Okay, so here's the next question that I got for you. What is in your mind, and this is going to require some introspection. What do you think you did wrong in parenting?
Oh yeah. Okay.
Oh, you want to jump on that?
I've been perfect in every way.
Yeah. Do we have to narrow it down to
Well, I would say I could say your biggest regret or one that you're willing to share as far as hardship goes.
Okay.
Because I think unless
share.
people know that we're being real, I don't think they're going to be able to take us seriously. So I'm going to tell you mine, and it's my biggest regret.
I have mine.
Okay,
I
so
have mine too.
Todd, you're up. You already kind of shared yours.
Yeah, I can share mine.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so, well, one thing that I regret is even though I was present, I wasn't present sometimes. So I regret that that I didn't invest more of my time whenever especially with the ones that were taken, that I'm not able to spend that time with anymore. So what I've done is I was like, okay, I'm not going to let that happen again. I'm going to try to make sure that every time I can, I'm going to be present there. Even though I'm there, I want to be present with them, and I want to make sure that they know that I care about what they care about, and then I'm there for them.
It's a good answer.
It's good.
And I'm giving Todd the pass because he had that big regret one during the getting to know you thing. That I feel like that's probably the best answer that you had for this question as well. So it was good. If you have another one you want to share, you can. But I'm going to go head to Joanna, and then you can share yours if you want. But go ahead, Joe.
Spoiling my kids.
Oh,
Your biggest regret was that you didn't spoil them? Or you did?
that I have.
That she
okay.
has.
Yeah.
I think we all have.
Well, and it's kind of like you said, the balance thing.
It's hard.
Because Donnie and I both grew up in households where there wasn't a lot. You know, if somebody, I mean, God forbid one of me and my brothers had to go to the doctor, we literally lived on beans and cornbread for a month.
Yeah.
There was no extra. There was, if we wanted something, we had no choice but to work for it. Now me and my brothers were lucky in the fact that my dad would pay us to work for him. So we had that opportunity even as young kids to earn money. I mean, I had like the Dave Ramsey, before it was Dave Ramsey envelope system going on when I was 10 years old.
Wow.
So like I've always been very aware of that, but I feel like there's a really hard balance there in going from two parents who had nothing and growing up in that type of hardship. And then we look at our kids and we don't want them to feel the same hardships that we felt, and we want them to have better than what we had. And then you realize, oh, well, now they're just ungrateful.
Yeah.
In that process,
I agree.
There's some entitlement things that exist.
Yes, and it's, I mean, they're not, I don't want to sound like they're just the most ungrateful kids ever, but there are moments when there's this little attitude of, well, I want that and I should have it. And it's like, yeah, that's not going to work. And so it's like, I feel
you want it, there's work.
Yeah.
Go get it.
So I regret that I didn't start this attitude of, if you want it, you better work for it. If you want that pair of ridiculously priced shoes, you better get your butt out in the yard and wash the car. You better do some laundry. You better go mop some floors or something. I regret that I didn't start that sooner.
Okay.
My dad, I love my dad. One of the things he used to say to me when I would come up to him and say, I want this. And I had that same kind of attitude. And he would go, well, and guys going to have to pardon my French here, but he would go, well, you could want in one hand and crap in the other and see which one fills up faster.
Yeah.
For all you
Yeah.
that are offended by crap,
You probably
Well, Dad didn't
Reach out
cuss
to us.
much. Dad didn't cuss much when we were girl because he knew as soon as he did, me being the obstinate idiot that I was, I would totally repeat that word at least 20
Oh, yeah,
times
at
in the
least.
same moment, and he'd be like, "Oh gosh, why did I say that?" Okay, so if you want to share, you can, but I'm going to go ahead and
No,
go.
let's go,
Okay,
let's go.
my biggest regret is my disciplinary standards sometimes were a bit too. I can't do much to change the conflict between entitlement versus, because I think those are teachable moments that happen often, and this world exists. And while we're living, I know that's maybe a regret for you, but I'm listening to that going, that's just naturally, that's going to happen. That because people think that somebody else has something, I need it too. And thank God that you're there to counteract that. And I think we've all, with kids, had that mindset where, well, I deserve this and I should get it. And you're like, let me throw an elbow in you and make sure you understand that you're not as big as you think you are. But my problem was overreacting sometimes to things that probably didn't deserve the reaction that it got. And my big story, and I've had talks with Gabriel about this, so I can say this and use this as an example. One time he came home and there was stuff that was going on. I knew it was going on. And I walked into, and you guys probably heard this story 1,000 times, but I'm going to say it again just because we're talking about parenting. And he wouldn't look me in the eye, and come to find out that there was stuff that I didn't know about, even though I had found out something by looking in his car. And I was already mad about what I had found in his car, but to come and find out that there was more to it than that. And I went off. I went to the dark side and did Darth Vader, the whole thing. And it ended out okay. But for the rest of my life, I probably will regret those moments. They're still etched in my head as this is not Christ-like. This is not a Christ-like response. This is not how I would react. This is not, and even though I had that voice in my mind saying this isn't right. This isn't, I still was so driven to make the point that I didn't do it in the right way. And that matters. When you're out of balance in that, and that, like I said, that's probably the hardest thing about parenting for me is that balance of being able to understand and discern how far is too far. And I don't care who you are, you're going to make mistakes. But that's probably the biggest regret that I've had. And I've had it with Grayson too. I probably not as share or have at liberty to share some of the things that, all the struggles that we've had in that capacity. But I will say that that has been probably my greatest regret is I've been tough in places sometimes where I shouldn't have been. I'm not saying that at all times I shouldn't have been tough, but I'm just saying that I overreacted, especially in that one instance that I'm telling you guys about. That'll always be a regret. I continually apologize to Gabriel about that because I don't think he deserved that response. But it is what it is, and I have to forgive myself over that kind of stuff and live over those things. But at least learn from me that no matter how mad you get, that you need to. And we'll talk about biblical parenting in just a second. I'll read a couple things to you that some thoughts that I wrote down. But and the next thing, what is your biggest accomplishment? Do you think? What are you most proud about with your kids, how you've raised them or what's going on right now? And I'm not talking about what they're doing. I'm talking about what you've done with your kids, your biggest accomplishment with your kids.
You guys all looking at me because
It's your turn, dude.
It's your turn.
You got to Nello on that last one, so this time you get to. He's like, Todd's like,
Steve?
Go ahead.
We're just going to pass that buck right on over.
these are not easy.
No,
Sorry.
they're not. They're really not. I have to admit that my accomplishments, I think you say not what has happened, but I mean, if I look at an accomplishment, I look at how, since we're talking about raising children, what do you have to compare it to if your style or your method worked, but to see in the end if your son or daughter has actually taken what you've tried to instill in them, apply it, and then successfully
walk that out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say conquer the world, but that's not right. They're not going to conquer the world.
You haven't even done that yet.
Yeah, I'm still working on conquering the garden. So, yeah.
Those stinking vines, man, they're dying. Go ahead.
Right? Squash bugs, too.
Oh, gosh.
I know that I had a moment in my life, and it was about 25 years old. My stepdad had raised me from when I was about 6 years old until I was about 17. And so we kept in touch after him and my mom had gotten divorced. And it was an eye-opening experience. At the age of 25, I'd gone through some traumatic things and done some stupid things, and man, I made a lot of dumb decisions. Even though he told me, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that.
Sounds familiar.
I mean, I can't imagine how many times he gave me financial advice. And I remember the day I turned 18 years old and I got my first credit card. And I was so excited because I did it. I signed for it. I sent it off. It came in the mail. I was excited. And he's like, okay, put that away. Are you kidding me? That's free money. I'm going to use that.
Free money.
That's not free money.
So I think by
You
the
have
time
to pay it back.
Yeah.
Show of hands that anybody thought that when you got the credit card. I'm just being honest. Yeah,
free money.
Yeah.
Somebody,
free
just
money.
somebody just gave it to me. Sears, JCPenney's, I mean, all those guys. And then I ended up jacking up like $73,000 worth of debt.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah.
Car included, or
Oh, yeah.
Oh my
Okay,
goodness.
car included. Okay.
So I got my car and I got all these credit cards. And
Okay,
I got-
we're supposed to be talking about your greatest accomplishment here.
and so I think when I look at accomplishments, at the age of 25, I realized I had really screwed up and that I needed to make amends. And I remember having a conversation with him over lunch, and I just told him what had happened in my life, and I was super sorry that I didn't listen to him. And where should I go from here? And he explained to me, well, first, get rid of your debt. Don't be dumb.
Yeah.
Stop acquiring more. And so from that point, I started doing that. But that was kind of my pivoting point where I said, okay, this is where everything he tried to teach me, I now recognized and was going to be like, okay, I'm going to go forward with this.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you that story because I recently had an epiphany with my son who, came to me and said, you taught me all this stuff. I didn't listen, but now I am. And we're going forward and it's working.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think when it comes to accomplishments, I can't really say what I did that would be such a inspiring accomplishment because I didn't push anybody to be a doctor. I didn't push anybody to be the next president,
Mm-hmm.
which you could say that would be an accomplishment.
Mm-hmm.
But I did try to instill in them, be a good person,
Mm-hmm.
love one another, and help others. And as we all know, I'm looking around at you guys, listening to your stories. Kids will be kids. They'll make their own decisions. And this entitlement thing, you're right, Joanna. I look back in my life, I didn't want for anything.
Mm-hmm.
But my parents didn't have a lot of money. But if I wanted the new pair of Nikes, I got them. I'll never forget the day I got a new pair of Nikes and I stepped in dog crap. Sorry, I said that word. French.
Oops. Yeah,
Anyways.
sorry. Yeah, we've already designated that to be a wordy dirty.
So I knew I couldn't bring those shoes in the house. Now, they were brand new shoes. I shouldn't have been outside playing with them.
Much less stepping in. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I left them on the front porch.
And they're gone.
The one with crap, something took off with it. An animal or whatever, I don't know.
Huh,
But
interesting.
that shoe was gone.
The
Left me-
one-legged
they-
man.
Yeah, right? So when I told my mom, she's like, "You're kidding, right?" Looking at me like, "You are so stupid that you left your shoes outside. You didn't clean them off and then bring them in. You left them outside just to deal with them later?" And so, I sit there and think about how can we get past all the troubles we have in children today? But then you got to go way back in time. And I have to ask myself, back in the 40s, 50s, 60s, did parents have the same problem?
No, maybe.
Some
in their
of
own
them.
way.
In their own way.
Some of
yeah.
them, yes,
Yeah.
but
In their own way.
I don't
had
think
challenges.
it's near what it is now.
But it was more family oriented.
Oh, well, without
You know?
a doubt. They definitely didn't have the immensity of information that was coming at them all the time like they do today.
Yeah.
But if you were to ask my grandmother, 98-year-old grandmother, about the same issues that we're talking about today, she'd have some of the same answers too. You know,
Oh yeah, attitude is attitude.
Yeah.
And that really hasn't
Yeah.
changed over the millennia.
Just back then, they could.
I mean, the Bible talks about Adam and Eve too. So hey,
I would venture to say that one of the greatest accomplishments that we can have is that we do exactly what Proverbs 22 says. What we train up a child in the way he should go. And so when he grows older,
Yeah.
but see, older is a very relative and subjective term, and some kids don't get older until 40, right?
Almost.
Some kids, there are some 70-year-olds that I've pastored that aren't older.
Right.
Yeah, and they still have not matured. We call that arrested development, by the way, in psychological terms. But yeah, I would say that that's a massive accomplishment, bro. Because when you're looking at your kids and you have learned from your mistakes, and it's not only a testament to your upbringing, but it's also a testament of what has been instilled in your life from experiential wisdom, which is love plus knowledge. Okay, and you've taken that and you've given it to your kids. There's no greater accomplishment than setting that out. I mean, honestly, that's what every one of us should be striving to do and accomplish. Is to now that's going to look like for you. That's a big accomplishment because that was a big problem in your life. $72,000 of debt or whatnot, and you were able to get out from underneath that hole, but you didn't want your kids to be in there, and you instilled that in them. And even though they made their own mistakes, that's a big accomplishment. I've trained you enough to now, instead of getting $72,000 in debt, now you've learned your lesson before that. Boom. I mean, that's massive.
Oh, I agree.
That's massive.
Great.
And that is, it's not something that you can do on your own, obviously. I think that the Lord is obviously involved in that, but at the same time, bro, you take pride in that. That's pretty awesome. Awesome. What about you, Steve? What do you think, man? What do you think is your greatest accomplishment as a parent?
Okay, so one thing I do appreciate is I guess we've taught our kids how to be respectful. So they are respectful when they go to other people's houses, when we hear back that they are a joy to be with. So we must be doing something right.
it's always good when they act
do
a
have
better
some
way.
wonderful kids. We're very blessed, and I really am to see Aiden grow to this young man, and he's taken on the responsibility of.
How old is Aiden? He's 17, right?
17. He's going to be 18.
So
next month.
There are you be warned, all of you teenager parents out there, and I'm sure Todd will.
Oh, you're fired.
Oh no! You did the ultimate sin. You
This
sinner.
company, I should answer it just to give them a hard time, because this company, Optum RX Prescriptions, has called me every day about a refill reminder.
Okay.
A refill reminder. Anyways.
Wow.
So warnings for all teenagers, and every one of us will probably say the same thing. They are going to show bright spots every now and again.
Yes.
But they will absolutely retreat back to
The status quo.
Let me give me your phone. Oh no. You're grounded again.
So, but
Yeah.
but again, if I compare though, if I compare one with the other one, like if I say, because I know it's easy for us to want to rush people along and go, okay, well, this guy at 17, he's showing this and he's doing all this and this is so great and I'm so happy about this, and then look at the other one and go, well, what's wrong with you?
No, don't do that.
You know, well, no, I know you're not. No. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying that the temptation is to glory in those things, those little bright spots, that because it gives us so much hope.
Yes. Yes.
And just the reminder that,
We
okay,
can see the light at the end of the
there's
tunnel.
still growth even in us.
Yeah.
We've my dad, one of the funniest things he ever says was, you know what, you're becoming a really great young man, you know. And for Dad, that's the bright spots, but he knows that there are still certain areas in my life that he would like to see smoothed out. And I think that's a wise way of looking. I think that's the way Jesus looks at us. He's like, okay, you got that, you got the right, you're pleasing me in this area. I know that there are other areas that we need to work on.
Yeah.
But the accomplishment is that
Yeah.
you've instilled
Yeah.
things and you've done a good job. And they're obviously, you got some great kids, dude.
Yeah, they're great.
You do. You got some great kids, man. I like Ian. I like him a
I
lot,
love
man.
Ian.
He's got a big heart, dude. And
He is.
and he
does
plays
have
with
a
a lot of heart, from
Yes,
what I
he
understand.
does. He's the smallest one on the team, but he's the heart of the team.
Awesome.
That's cool.
It's
Yeah.
Bella that you're going to have to, have a gun at your side for all these other.
She is
definitely.
too pretty
And,
for
you
her
know, there's
good.
a guy named Austin, so we need to.
We're naming names
He's
here.
bigger than I am, so
Yep.
and she wasn't supposed to. I forgot to tell her the criteria. They have to be
hey, you
smaller than your dad.
So your biggest accomplishment is, you think, instilling and respect.
Yeah. Okay, and then to your other thing, other words, sometimes it's easier to discipline other kids because there's others that don't know how to shut this thing whenever you're talking to them, and then they escalate, and that's whenever you say things. Even the other person that maybe can do something worse, that deserves more punishment because of the way they react, they don't mouth off. Their punishment is a lot less because they're just how they handle it. But we have certain
He's getting all
people
flustered, folks. He's getting red in the face.
that don't do nothing really wrong, but they just don't know how to keep this thing under control.
Keep the mouth. Yeah.
I may or may not have had that problem.
Escalates, and then you say things you don't need to say because they won't. They just keep. Yeah. So
Hold on. So they're crazy is bringing out your crazy.
Yes, right.
Uh-uh.
And then there's other ones that.
So,
maybe
and you
do-
were saying something about logic just a little bit ago.
Yeah.
So should that logic exist? Where if they
It
do
should
something
not.
bad, that
should
we
be able
go
to
into
control
something.
ourselves, but that mouth just does something.
It's
And all of a sudden, your logic goes.
Hey, I need to call your mom. I want to call your mom real quick, and I want to see.
I never would mouth off to my mom like that because I would have been hurt.
Yeah.
It's funny, Steve. I've seen that battle. I've seen that battle in firsthand.
Like with who? With you? Talking about you?
I'm just talking about in other people's families. I've seen that battle where that mouth just keeps running, and that parent, they're just getting flustered, and that kid just keeps talking, just keeps mouthing off, and I think to myself, dude, you already lost the battle.
Yeah.
As soon as the kid starts running his mouth,
That's right.
he's trying to show his dominance or her
Yes.
dominance, and trying to say, I am more than you. And I have a louder voice.
There's another proverb that says, "Spoil the rod, spoil the child."
Spare the rod.
Spare the
Spare the
rod,
rod,
yeah,
spoil the
that's what
child.
it said, yeah. Well, again, we're talking about your greatest accomplishments, though.
I know.
I know you're venting a
My
little bit, but
accomplishments is I can keep my cool sometimes.
Oh, there you go.
I think every parent's greatest accomplishment is if they made it out alive.
all right, Joe.
We're good.
Is that your greatest accomplishment? Is that what you're going to say? Is that you made it out alive?
No.
Okay, so what is yours?
That's maybe my second greatest accomplishment.
Didn't end up in jail.
Okay, so a couple years ago, we had a moment,
Oh,
and
I love those.
Moments are nice.
yeah, it was a moment that totally went over my kids' heads, but it struck me hard. So we were at church camp, and the very last night of church camp, our speaker, Manny something, I lost it, but he delivered this really incredible message about family curses. You do not have to be your parents. Talking to kids who have grown up in less than stellar conditions.
Yes.
trying to give them hope that you do not have to continue the cycles of your parents. You do not have to, keep the same sins as your parents, the same.
You're not destined or predestined to be your parents.
Right. And breaking the cycle of abuse and all this stuff. And with my background, I mean, it genuinely ministered to me. It was really powerful. I was able to stop and talk to, one boy whose father had just got put in prison, and he was dealing with that, and he just wanted to be better than his parents. And so for me, that evening was super, super powerful. And I know for several other kids in the group, it was super powerful. And so on the way home, I was driving the car that had my kids and just a couple of their close friends. And I said, well, what did y'all think about that message last night? That was pretty powerful. And, one of the guys goes, yeah, it was pretty good. And my two kids were like, well, I mean, it was okay. I'm like, what do you mean it was okay? I was like, that was a powerful message. And my oldest daughter said, well, yeah, but it didn't really affect us. We don't really have to worry about that. We don't have that problem. And I remember, it was all I could do to keep driving home, because I remember thinking, if you had any idea what kind of goodness God has given us, that you don't have that problem.
Yeah.
So that...
And coming from, that was... Yep. That was my parent moment, going, okay,
doing something right.
This is the first time. And I said, okay, this is the first time I will ever allow you guys to dismiss a sermon right there. I'll give you a pass. Because I just
They'll
remember
realize,
going,
though.
God, I'm so thankful
Yeah.
that sermon didn't affect my kids.
There's a lot of background into that. We're all, because that in itself is a testimony to, I can utilize my trauma and use it as an excuse, or I can use it as a stepping stone to become something better. And I think that, like, I can only speak for myself here, but to utilize my trauma and then propagate that in levels, that happens. That's what we call a generational curse. Is if I allow the trauma to define me, then I end up passing that along through generations. But if I allow, and that's where that is a huge accomplishment, to allow the love of Jesus to transform our hearts and to become something different in spite of what had happened in our lives. And the Lord uses that to make something good. Then with our kids, those things my kids don't even understand how something like that can happen. But when they look at me, they see something else. I would say that's probably my greatest accomplishment as well, is saying that, okay, yes, there are things in my life that have happened, things that I'm not proud of, but even further back, there are things that with trauma that has happened in my life that I could have allowed to be excuses or do things that are hideous and terrible to my family, and be an example of that and propagate that into my kids' lives, my family's life, my wife's life. But instead, allowing my life to be transformed by the love of Jesus, and allowing that to become something of a testimony and a growing point, to where now my kids, like you're saying, they don't even understand that mentality. They will when they have kids and they see the importance of not, they'll go, thank God that you didn't acquiesce to that, or you didn't allow yourself to live in that. And I want to make it clear, I'm not saying that I did not have problems, or that it isn't even a struggle, because it is. It absolutely is a struggle. But when you have those moments where you're like, I don't understand, my kids don't understand that dilemma. They may understand the man side of things and the temptations that come along with those things, but with the trauma like that, they will never, and thank God, they will never have to deal with that. Not that I know of, not that I've ever been told anything. But I'm just saying, I don't think that's, I'm very honored that the Lord has allowed that to become a stepping stone instead of a stumbling block. That's a very big accomplishment of him in my life. And hopefully I feel like that's a lot of work on my part to make sure that doesn't get transcended into my kids. So I want to get into this conversation because I don't want to run too much longer.
Okay.
So biblically, there's a lot of stuff about parenting in the Bible as far as raising your kids and laws and Levitical pretext and things like that. I'm not going to get into that, but I'm going to say generally as a pastor and as for all of us in here, and you guys can disagree, we can have that conversation, but I wrote down 4 things that I believe are biblical things that we need to be about with our kids. Number 1, I think we need to pray for our kids constantly.
Yes.
I think they're bombarded with stuff
Especially
all the time.
Stuff they have to go through, yes.
Oh yeah, and if they're in public school systems,
yes.
I don't only think you should pray with your spouse, but I also think that you should offer to pray with your kids as often as you can.
Wow.
And that way, there's an exampleship of there. Now, I'm not going to say that I'm the best at that, but I something that I wish I would have worked on a little bit more. Number 2, I think we need to teach them the ways of the Lord. I think that's biblical. I think we need to put them in places where they can learn, but not only that, I think you need to teach them at home more than what you're relying the pastor to do. And then 3, the best way to teach them is to live that out in exampleship. And then the 4th, which is the hardest part, is discipline them in the same manner the Lord disciplines us. And my dad gave me a good piece of advice when Gabriel was first born. He quoted, "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom," and he said, "Your mother was a nurturer, but she was able to evoke a response in you because you respected the father." And he said, "It's not because you thought that I was going to harm you, or that you thought that I was out to get you, but you respected who I was, you respected my position, and you wanted to please and honor me. You wanted to please your mother too, but not as much. You know, it was like, you're with your mom all the time." So he said, what I implemented, and I did this with my kids too. My mom was a nurturer, and so she would put the Band-Aids on, and she would comfort. She'd be Mama Bear, and she'd go and fight battles and be at games and things like that. And then if I did something wrong, the statement would be, Wait till your dad gets home. Just wait till your father gets home, which was not a bad thing, but it was the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. And so in my family, what it has become is, the fear of dad is the beginning of wisdom, because your dad doesn't want anything that is contrary to what is going to be good for you.
Good for you, yeah.
And if I find out that you are doing things that are not good for you, you need to fear your father. Just like anybody that would stand up against you needs to fear your dad. Why? Because I'm out to make sure that you're protected and that you're not a threat to yourself. And so militantly, Cheryl would be the nurturer, and she'd be the one that go in and, "Oh, are you okay? Is everything all right? How's your knee?" And I'd be like, "Rub some dirt on it, dude. Get out there and go do it again," whatever. Sometimes that was a mistake. You can go out of balance on that. But I think that with the Lord, I think it's the same way. I think that there is nurturing. Holy Spirit comes in and he does comfort and he does counsel. But I think that there is also that lordship principle where, like what Joseph said in Genesis, where he said, "How could I do this thing against the Lord my God?" There's a reckoning that has to happen when we understand his high position as the authority of our lives. It should lead us to a reckoning to what we are doing. It shouldn't be so lax and so dumbed down that we think that, in fact, I had this comment today at Cracker Barrel. Somebody said, "Well, you can just ask God for forgiveness. Go ahead and lie, but ask God for forgiveness." I'm like, no, that's not
a get out of jail free card.
No, I don't think that's, I think you misunderstand. He's still God, and he's still an authority, and he still should be feared. And I think some parents, that dynamic may not work. And, you may not have a good dad at home, or you may not, but you need to remember that if we're disciplining like our parents should discipline, as far as the way the Lord does that, you have to find that balance. You have to be able to find that where there is love and acceptance and grace and mercy, but there's also reckoning, there's judgment, there is a righteous protection that exists to make sure that you are having what is best for your life. And as far as kids are concerned, with us, all of us, I think all of us can. Now, I'm going to speak for you guys, so if you want to have that conversation, we can. But we have to make sure that we are standing up and protecting and doing what we believe is best, not what everybody else believes what is best, but what we know, because we, my kids, I've been with them for 18, 20 years. So this principle that everybody else is going to know better than I do on how to raise my kids.
Nope.
You want to get daddy a little upset about that, you start telling me how I should raise my kids. Same thing with you guys, I'm sure.
Don't tell a mama how to raise her kids.
No. So I'm not telling you how you should do it. I'm just telling you that biblically, I think we should strike the balance that God does with us, or try to. We're not going to do it all right. Yeah. But at least we give it. Anything you guys want to add?
Yeah. Now with my kids know that, hey, I love the Lord, and the Lord is the one I serve in our family, and they know I love them. I love Laura. I just love my wife, and they know that I love them. What was really cool is we tell them we love them all the time. It was really neat the other day. I mean, before they get out of the car, or and anytime we can, we tell them we love them. And we said we love you, and it was cool. Our exchange student said, "Love you too."
Is he still here?
Yeah, he's here. He'll be here till.
Y'all haven't chained him up?
No.
Oh,
He's awesome. He is such a good young man. We're blessed to have him.
Good.
But that was kind of cool. He knows he can. I guess my kids know we love them, even though we have to discipline them sometimes, and everything. They know that we love them.
There's nothing wrong with having a conversation in the discipline about why you're disciplining, or walking into a place and having a conversation with my son, who is 20. And talking to him about jobs, talking to him about the future, and continually having those conversations. There's nothing wrong with doing that. They may not like it, and they may act pretty annoyed when it happens. But the fact of the matter is that you're not trying to be their best friend. I want them to know that I love them, but I also want them to know that, hands are for shaking, backs are for patting, and butts are for kicking.
Amen.
Coincidentally, I take the same approach to pastoring. All right, so anyways.
He does. It's so true. It's amazing.
Oh, my goodness.
And I'd make the same mistakes in pastoring, too. There's no perfect solution, and there's no manual except for the Bible. And without Holy Spirit, you probably are going to make a whole lot more mistakes. So make sure and talk to the Lord about that. Anything else anybody wants to add to this? And I'm talking a lot. You have anything you want to say? I could tell Todd does. He's just not talking.
Come on, Todd.
That's always what he's not saying, by the way.
Yes. Read his mind.
I like to marinate. So I like to soak it in.
Which is why you don't get the conversation before we actually have the podcast, because I want the reaction.
Right? Right?
Yep.
No, I mean, I'm good.
You're good. You don't say anything.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of...
I knew it.
I think a lot of problems that stem in the household are usually what I see is because there's a divided parent.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Two parents,
they have
not
to be on the same page.
Now, if there's a divorce in the way, that's even
advantage
worse
of that.
because kids will play each other off.
Yeah, true, very true.
And I think that's a big thing that I see nowadays that probably wasn't before my time. I think that parents, if they're not on the same page, their child is going to grow up wishy-washy. You're going to get that child who yells over you. You're going to get the child that is defiant, that is going to tell you that I don't need to do this because the other let him off. The other one let him talk. There's always another side. So the one thing I will say about me and my wife is that we're always on the same page. there's only been about 2 incidences where I can say that she a little undermined me. And we had to have a discussion about it.
We had to have a discussion about it.
So it's not always.
Yeah.
The infinitive doesn't exist, by the way. That's not a fair statement.
Discussions, and it's all good now.
Now
Now that he laid the law on the paddle down, yes,
well,
that's
and
true.
now that I'm able to bring her to the light and say, look, because of your doing.
Oh, no.
Hold on. How did you? I'm
you
looking
say
at the
bring
blind
her to the
reaction from
light?
Joanna here.
Bring her to the light because obviously she was the wrong one. Wow.
I've never brought a woman to light ever.
But because I like to let it marinate, I let it play through and I go, okay. So you see how that worked out for you?
Do you know how blessed you are that you were actually right?
Yeah, because
Yes.
if you'd been wrong, you'd be screwed.
You're right. You're right.
Have you ever been wrong?
Once.
When it comes to kids?
Just say yes. It's okay.
Just say yes, Todd.
We
Yes.
all
Okay.
have.
Okay.
Just
Sure
say
I'm
yes.
sure I was
Okay.
wrong. I can't remember.
Well,
I never was
It's
wrong.
my
I was
memory.
mistaken.
there have been many times, and when a statement that I've said to my kids is, "As it pertains to you, I'm always right." And that's when it comes to kid. Like I think I know what Todd's talking about, where he says, "Yeah, when it comes to the kids, as it pertains to you, I'm always right." The hierarchy of the authority of the home should be where, if I'm a good father, and I'm established in the home as the head of the household in that capacity, and some families are not like that. I'm not saying that this is a universal concept. What I'm saying is that with Todd, he's coming from a place of, I have the best interests for these kids at heart, and I need you to trust me when I have experiential knowledge. And if something comes in, that's that protect mode, where if you're undermining that position, it's counterproductive.
Yeah.
We need to have a talk. What you need is a good spanking. All right, so so I understand what he's saying. At the same time, I can understand what Joanna's saying. There's got to be a team approach and a talk about.
Yeah.
All right, but okay, Todd. Just to play devil's advocate,
Go ahead.
My parents were consistently on the same page, and I mean, they would go into the room and not come out for hours at a time because they would have a conversation about, how they were supposed to handle us behind closed doors so that we didn't see it. And when we came out, they were united. Do you think that is a guarantee that you're not going to have a defiant child?
no.
Okay.
Look at you.
Well, I mean, but look
You
at it.
shut your mouth when you're talking to me, dude. You shut your mouth when you're talking to me.
Yeah, look at you.
Yeah, y'all shut up.
So
I don't need this kind of abuse. I go home for this kind of abuse.
I think that today concept of raising a child has so many other influences.
I'm not talking about today. I'm talking about back then.
I know. But look, back then, when did you get a cell phone?
When I was 22,
22?
Yeah.
Okay, that's not bad.
I was out of the house.
You were out of the
I was in the house a little bit, but not much.
Okay.
And it didn't have any of this stuff on it.
I just called people.
I had a game called Snake on the Nokia 5120. And
Yep.
and I could
I remember that one.
I could throw it in hot lava and still it would run. It would still operate. Yeah. These
you
things
could run
were
over with a diesel.
Yeah.
I had that too.
Those things were like a tank.
Now, my dad was absolutely a techie dude. He worked for a company called CoolLogic, which did smart TVs before TVs were smart.
Wow.
And had boxes on top of them, and they developed this stuff before that. He was involved in that. So he had cell phones and things like that. But when it came to us, it was like, if you want on the computer, you have 30 minutes to be on the computer, maybe. And that's only if dad didn't need to get on the computer. But it was always a unified front. But I'm going to tell you right now,
You were just filled with Satan.
I needed to come out of that demon. That's what I needed to do. Me and my brother were both very defiant. I think that the mix all with life, the big cement mixer of public school, culture, government, all that stuff plays, because you can raise a kid in a godly environment, in a church environment, and you can overchurch that dude to where he doesn't want to be good and he wants to explore. And part of the travesty of this culture is that they're going to make that something that kid wants to do. Like you watch 90210. That was a big thing for my mom. Can't believe I'm letting you watch 90210. And that when it got bad, she was like, okay, we're turning this off. But that alone was enough for me to go, no, I think I want a girlfriend that walks around in her bikini top and stuff like that, and start thinking about, I don't want to be Mr. Good Boy in youth class. I want a girlfriend and all that stuff. So it didn't matter what my parents said. At some point, I have to become morally accountable to the things that are in my head. And that's something the parents need to understand. You are not a failure if your child decides to do something alternate of what you have taught them.
Now that goes back to the earlier conversation where parents try to instill the greatest and you
in the way they
rebel.
should.
And
Yes.
that, like, if I had one piece of advice, that would be it. Because I can't tell you how many other moms that, I have talked to over the years. And if their kid screws up, they think, oh, it's my fault because I'm a terrible mother. I didn't do this. I didn't whatever. But if you can honestly say, as a mom,
Or dad.
or a dad, parent, whatever, if you have given it your best, if you have done what God has asked you to do, if you have tried to instill the love, compassion, responsibility, all the things that create a good person, what we think of as a good, productive, contributing to society person, you have done all these things. It is not your fault if your child chooses to go off the rails.
Yeah, go read Ezekiel 18 right now if you're struggling with that, and you need to understand that there is a moral accountability for each to decide on their own, and God will render each according to their deed. And I need you to understand also that that whole concept of personifying their choices on you is, and I love you, so I need you to hear what I'm about to tell you as not only a rebuke, but a loving message. You need to trust God with your mistakes. Because if you loved him and you were trying to live for him in the upbringing of your kids, you need to trust that even in your weaknesses, he is strong. And it is a selfish endeavor to take the guilt of your kids and try to place that on yourself. I'm not saying that God didn't do that with Jesus. I understand that he was able to remedy the atonement situation, but even then he still renders each according to their deeds. So I'm going to say that God does not have a 100% success rate on conversion. We are not universalists. We don't believe that every man is saved. Okay. And we believe that even Judas, the closest of his followers, there was one that didn't make it. Okay. So in that regard, I just want to make sure you understand that the selfishness of us trying to personify and take those things from our kids, number one, you're going to restrict their growth because you're not allowing them to suffer the ramifications of those actions and trying to say that that was your fault instead of their fault. No, it wasn't. They made the decision. You might have been an influence, but they still made a decision. Number two, you will hurt yourself in the long run with condemnation and heaping yourself in chains because you're living in the guilt of what your kids are doing. Your kids are going to make decisions that you don't agree with. You probably need to get used to that idea. And number three, biggest and best, God works all things together for the good of those that love him and are called according to his purposes. So what Joanna is talking about is, well, okay, you're going to make a mistake. You made a mistake. You made a mistake. If you were doing the best you can with a motive of love, then that seems to be the overarching opinion every time we get into this podcast. As long as your motive is love. All right. Anything else anybody want to talk about? That's really good advice, by the way.
There was a compliment online. We have, when parents discuss discipline in front of the child, it also confuses who is the authority in the home.
That's a really good. Who
That's a
said
good
that?
point. That is Ashley. Thank you, Ashley.
Thanks, Ashley.
That's Ashley.
Yeah.
It's very
You were on
true.
last week. Was that the same Ashley?
Same
You were on
Ashley.
last week, Ashley. Good to have you back.
Yeah,
Keep on
hey,
coming
girl.
back. Keep on coming back. We love to have you and have your comments. That's great.
Yeah, that's good.
Yep.
Yeah, if you're discussing it in front of the kid and there's a discussion that you're disagreeing with, like what Todd was talking about and the undermining of that, I think that can cause a conflict of interest as well, counterproductive.
Yeah.
And coincidentally, if there is a weaker argument, if you know, let's say that just for kicks and giggles, let's say Todd was wrong, and it sets that conversation up to where Kim, you know, has a better perspective. instead of there being a vulnerability with that, usually the guy would be a little bit more prideful in the guarding of that because he wants to make, I'm just saying from experience, that he wants to make sure that his kids look at him as an authority. And what's good about having that in closed doors is I can be vulnerable enough with my wife to hear her perspective instead of guarding what my kids are seeing from the out. Does that make sense to you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
But I don't agree with hiding all marital discussion arguments from your kids.
No, I don't agree with that
Because I
either.
think it's wise
But
to
discipline.
show kids that no marriage is perfect. Yes, we're going to disagree. That doesn't mean that we don't love each other. It doesn't mean we're fixing to go out and get divorced. We just have a disagreement, and we're gonna work through it. We're gonna talk through it. Like,
It's a good point.
I know lots of kids who never saw mom and dad fight. And then when they get up and get married, the first time they have a fight with their spouse, they're like, oh, well, this must be horrible.
This must be the end.
This is it. Let's get divorced.
No, case in point. So you meet together, discipline. This is how I'm going to do it. And this is how it would work out at PT and Cheryl's house. We get in the room. We talk about what happened. You know, we cry a little bit because they were stupid. And then we start talking about, well, what's the right course of action? And I would always err on the side of, you know, we need to cut the head off quick. And she would err on the side of, well, we've made the same mistakes and we probably need to let them suffer the ramifications. More mercy, more grace, because that's how we set it up. And so ultimately what happened is I would go, yes, but, and I would say this. And we would come before the kids and I would say, this is what's going to happen. And she would go, now, your dad thinks this is the best route to go. And I'm supporting him on this, but I don't necessarily agree with the harshness, but I'm just telling you that this is the way that we're going to go. Now, that would drive Todd nuts, but I don't have a problem with disagreement with respect. And you can submit. How in the world do I showcase submitting if there's never an opportunity for me to say, I trust my wife enough to disagree with her and to allow her to move on that course of action? The same thing with discipline in that case. We've had that problem before, and I have no problem with her saying, this is your dad's decision. I trust him. I may not agree with how he's doing this, but I totally support what he's doing, and I think this is what's going to happen. Now, we can have that discussion too, because Todd's like about to blow up over there.
Irishman.
That's not an undermining.
No, it's not.
No, it's
well,
not.
It isn't. She's not trying to do something different. She's saying, I'm submitting to what I believe is trustworthy.
Yes.
Okay, but
I agree.
what picture did that paint?
That we didn't agree. What's wrong with that? Do you always
wrong
agree
with
with
that?
Kim?
What's that?
Do you always agree with Kim?
No. Okay, when you're coming down to discipline, okay, you created a division right there. You do not see it?
No.
No.
Really?
Uh-uh.
You guys don't see a division?
No, I do not.
By stating that I agree with your father, but I think he was too harsh.
No,
I don't think that's what she said.
Not when you're coming
No,
with the,
what she's
but I'm
saying-
supporting him, because
what she's
I feel
saying
like
is
that
I-
message is, we don't have to agree on this, but because he is the head of the household,
I trust him.
this is what's going to happen.
That's what's going to happen. That's the way to do it.
Oh, and
So
it did.
you're still
still letting them know
creating that
unity.
front together, because you have to stress the,
I may
No,
not
I don't
agree with
agree.
everything,
But
this is your dad.
this is your dad. He's the head of the household, and if he says it, that's what's going to
What's going to
happen.
happen is what's going to happen.
Well, now here's
I
the
support
other
him.
here's the other point to that, is that there have been counterbalances to that as well, where recently, where I am like, we got to cut the head off the snake, dude. We got to kill this thing and bury it, 12 feet, not 6 feet, 12 feet under. And she's like, no, we don't. And she would say something and I'd go, I do not agree, but we're going to try it this way. And she'd go and she'd go, okay, this is how it's going to happen. This is what we're going to do. And I'd go, this is your mom. Because if it was up to me, I would have kicked your butt. But your mom believes that this is, and I trust your mom on this. So we're going to go this way. What that does is, I think it also creates a hierarchy where if there is a good structure, and I've got to stress that this is not every home. I'm not telling you universally this is how it happens, but I am saying that with our dynamic, what we wanted was that same fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. And what what dad says is what's going to happen. Not, and by good grief, by no means did I have all the information all the time. And there were times where Cheryl would absolutely have a better side of things. She would do it better, and we would acquiesce to that. But it was still together that we decided that. We still have opinions, and you know me, I don't like fake. I don't ever want to hide. If I have a disagreement about something, I would much rather say, all right, I don't agree here, but I support. And I do the same thing with them. I don't agree with your decision, but I will support you. I will do what I can to support the good in whatever decision you do. I don't agree with what you're doing here, but if you think this is the best road to take, then that's what we're going to do. I'll back you on it until it doesn't work anymore, and then we'll learn our lesson, and we'll do that. It's not a division. It's just I have a difference of opinion, and it creates a hierarchy of, if dad says it, then mom's in line, or if dad supports mom, then there's no battling against that.
And so that conversation is happening in front of the kid?
No. In the closed doors is where we have the discipline conversation.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I thought she was making this statement to the child, because the way
she
you
does.
just explained that.
She does say
Sure.
that I don't agree with your father on the level here. Like if I said you're grounded for 2 weeks, and she goes, I don't necessarily agree with the harshness, but I do support what he's saying here, and I do think that you're going to have to be grounded for 2 weeks here. She still supports the action, but she may not have agreed with the harshness. Mm-hmm. Now, whether or not that works for y'all, that's y'all's deal. Y'all make that happen however you want to. That's between you and the Lord and the kids. Yeah. But I knew that's a pretty big topic.
Wow.
When we talk about discipline, maybe another podcast, a whole nother podcast. But but I dig the fact that you have a question about that.
Yeah.
I almost want to pursue it a little bit more.
I don't have a question about it.
He's like, there is no question about it in my household. This is how it is.
This is how it is.
The answer to your question, no, me and Kim aren't always on the same page, but I would not have that conversation. I would not let that be said. And I'll tell you why. Because then a child is over here hearing, Dad is harsh. I'm not that harsh.
That's true.
But that's
a true statement.
That's a division.
That's the true
That's
statement.
division.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
It's a distinction of characteristics. Like in
Take
my
it down
household,
the road. Take it down the road. Okay, you're going down the road. Now you're 3 months down the road, and this has happened a couple of times. Mom has said, "Well, I think Dad's a little harsh." You put yourself in a spot that the son is going to manipulate you.
Maybe.
Come on.
They're going to try.
She's less.
Maybe. No.
She's not
now
as harsh.
she'll come to
She's not as
mom.
harsh.
She'll come to mom. That's absolutely true. But if we have discussed those things together, and we have a unity there, it doesn't matter if she's softer or harsher. Mm-hmm. The fact of the matter is, if we're already agreed on those things, then now where you're right on is if there is a new event that happens that we have not discussed, and they think they can take advantage of talking to mom before dad gets home. Yeah. Then there might be a little bit of a problem because and I could foresee that. Well, sure, it might.
They're all going to do that though. Yeah. They're kids.
They did it with you.
If there's a loophole, they're going to try to find it.
Yeah.
But then, whether or not you personify that in the discussion or not, they already knew who was boss and who was a little bit more gracious. They know. So even if you didn't say it, I know for a fact that everybody in this place have those roles in that kind of a household. It's just they're smart. They know our weaknesses.
Oh yeah,
they do.
Casey wanted something the other day, and he comes to me and said, "Mom, can I have this?" And I went, "No, but go ask your dad. I want to see how he responds. Let me know how that goes for you. Go ask him because I
know what Donna said. Are you out of your mind?"
Wow.
I said, you lost
am I wrong in that?
Your brain.
Am I wrong in that? Am I wrong in saying that even without us saying those things, our kids probably already know who is more grace leaning versus more law leaning?
Who has more mercy?
They know the parent that's going to say yes before the other one. We don't have to.
Your poor arm.
We don't have to do anything.
Let me go get the Band-Aid. Let me nurse. No, everything's okay. Are you okay? And the other one's like, you really gone in sick from work because of your arm? Are you kidding me? Get up and go to work. They already know.
Yeah, they've already. Yeah, you.
They already know.
Yeah.
Do you not agree with that?
No, I totally agree.
I was just saying.
I mean, if you look at my household, it's funny because this is a story that gets told all the time. My kid, he bumped his head, blood coming out of his head. I'm like, my wife's freaking out. He's got blood coming out of his head. I'm like, it's okay. Don't worry about it. Come on.
Stuff a sock in it. It'll be fine.
So I took a paper towel. I sent one kid. I said,
anybody got a tampon?
You go give me the roll of paper towels. I sent my wife. You go give me the Saran wrap. Okay. And I put this. I folded 2 paper towels in quarters, and I applied pressure, and I wrapped it in Saran wrap. Okay.
Coincidentally, I just want to let you guys know when he fell and busted his head, he did the exact same thing to his head. When we came here and found him, he had Saran wrap all over his head. We're like, what the crap are you doing? Well, it binds really good, man.
It does.
Oh my God.
I'll tell you. And then it was funny because then it was probably, I don't know, 6 months later, the dog had one of her dew claws get ripped out because she snagged it on the fence.
Oh, no.
And I took her to the vet. Okay.
And he wrapped it in Saran wrap.
No.
The dog actually got to go to the vet.
The dog went to the vet. And the kids had to wrap it up with Saran wrap, but he took
suck it up. Suck it up, Buttercup. But the dog, no, I want to take her to the vet, make sure she's okay. $250 later.
The duplicitousness of dogs versus kids. The kids are like, go out and get a job you want to impress me. The dog's like, oh my gosh, she's bleeding. Let's go to the vet. You know, I understand. Yeah. They still have that conversation.
It's the going joke.
Mm-hmm. That's funny.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
But we all know who your favorite is. We already know. Sky. Yeah, Sky's always been your favorite.
She's a good girl.
Oh, my dogs are definitely my favorite kids.
Not mine. I love Spencer, but yeah. Anyways, all right. So that being said, so we do our little.
Don't have kids, get a dog.
Our promotion and things that you don't have kids, get a dog. Don't do that.
Yeah, I'm just kidding.
For the love of Pete. All right. Anyways, so I'm gonna do a little self promotion. The song of the week is a new music alert. New music.
Right, new music.
New music. So I co-wrote a song with a guy named Tim Schlesner about his life and his love experiences. And this song came out, and it's a brand new release today. It just got released today. So we're going to play this for you. It's called Everything I Ever Wanted, co-write by me and Tim Schlesner. I hope you guys like it. This is Everything I Ever Wanted.
Woke up in an empty house that used to be a home. Divorce papers on the nightstand, the kids were often grown. Suffocating in my skin, drowned by my emotions. No longer living my best life, just going through the motions. Spent 25 years in a dead-end job, life was so mundane. Same old every day, nearly drove myself insane. I wish for more in my life, I guess he hears me when I pray. There's a voice inside that's calling me to take this leap of faith. Well, I pulled the pin and walked away. I live to fight another day. I jumped ship and took a dive, came out better on the other side. Never doubting what could be, I stepped into a mystery. I pushed ahead undaunted for everything I ever wanted. Fell in love with someone, could have proposed on our first date. I opened up myself to yes, and God showed me my soulmate. Never would have imagined that I'd be where I am today. We finally made our great escape, to the perfect hideaway. Well, I pulled the pin and walked away. I lived to fight another day. I jumped ship and took a dive. Came out better on the other side. Never doubting what could be, I stepped into a mystery. I pushed ahead undaunted for everything. And we'll be here till our life slips away. But not even death could come between us or my loving you this way. 'Cause you're everything this heart's ever wanted, and all my life's rewards were worth it, for it led me to the stay. Well, I pulled the pin and walked away. I lived to fight another day. I jumped ship and took a dive. Came out better on the other side. Never doubting what could be. We stepped into a mystery. We pushed ahead undaunted. For everything we've always wanted.
So Tim says that this is a little Tim Schlesinger. He's priding himself in getting me to sing country music, and I tell him, I said, don't rub that in, because I am not a country music fan.
Whatever.
But I'm not. I'm not. I'm
Put him in a
not.
cowboy hat and dress him up. He'll fit the picture.
Yeah. You do country good.
Yeah. I saw you on the river with your cowboy hat.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you do.
Anyways, that's the new song. We have one coming out in November as well. I'm pretty excited about that
I'm
one.
excited about that one.
I'm excited about this
How
one
do you
too.
know about that one?
Well,
I don't know about it.
How do you know about that?
we're not gonna.
I'm just excited that it's coming out.
Tim's been leaking.
Well,
You
yeah,
got a plumber's-
every morning. All right, so
No.
listen, parenting is not a one size fits all, by the way, and we are all going to make mistakes along the path. Don't get discouraged and don't grow weary in well doing. And even if you've made mistakes, even if you've had problems in the past, now I'm going to say this because I am a sufferer of trauma in the past. I just want to let you guys know that kind of selfishness is not what I'm talking about as far as mistakes. There's selfishness and things that will destroy a kid and a family. And if you're engaged in that, you can rest assured that you will reap what you sow as far as justice is concerned. But as far as making mistakes and parenting mistakes, disciplining too hard, that kind of thing, and not abusive, but you understand what I'm saying. Honest mistakes. God is still good. He's still faithful, and he still can make good out of those things. So don't beat yourself up and think that you've messed up your kids. You drop the pacifier on the floor and you think that's the worst thing that's ever happened. I'm just telling you right now, it's going to be okay. All right.
That only happens with the first child.
Yes, I know, but there are some people that are watching that this is their first kid, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, everything's gonna
Swipe it off on your
just,
jeans.
if a fly farts on your baby, they're gonna get the worst disease in the world." And I'm just telling you, man, just ease up, okay? Chill out, take a chill pill. There's enough to worry about with kids without you flipping out over everything. And trust me, from experience, if this dunderhead can get it okay every now and again, you can too. So, and I think I speak for everybody here when I call us all dunderheads. Okay.
I don't even know what a dunderhead is. I'm going to look it up.
It's you. All right. So let me say again.
Am I in the Webster?
Yes. Dunderhead.
Steve.
Oh, where's it at? Oh, no.
Steve?
There it is. Listen, man, honestly,
You must unlearn
Yes.
Yes, that's
Yes.
true. All right. I want to tell you guys again how thankful we are for the opportunity to be able to enter your lives by way of this podcast. And thanks to Crossroads Community Church again for letting us use this podcast studio. We'll be back next week. We're going to be talking about scary things again because
Scary
next week is
things.
getting close to Halloween. So we're going to be talking about things that scare us, not talking about worry things, but we're talking about the scary stories in our life and kind of comparing notes. I thought about doing live again, but I think we're just going to keep it in house and maybe do a couple of random phone calls to people to have them share stories.
fun.
That's
So
right, the power went out last time.
yeah, the power went out last time. Yeah, so
That was
Oh,
pretty
that's
crazy.
right.
Yeah, I
I
remember
forgot.
that.
Yeah,
I remember
so-
that.
Oh,
What we
you're
were
so
talking
creepy.
about.
Okay.
yeah,
That was a good show, too.
That was a good show.
it was a really
That
good
was
show.
fun.
We got
Yes.
bombed on that one.
Yeah, we're going to do it again. We're going to have a conversation about scary things that have happened in our life and maybe some supernatural stuff that we've talked about and kind of get us in the seasonal mood. So that's next week. But until we get to see you next week,
This is Todd Bergen.
This is Steve Howard.
It's Joanna Grace.
this is PT signing off. If no one has told you, God loves you, and so do I. We hope you have an incredible week. Until next week, we'll see you later.